Have you ever wondered whether the Death Star could be repurposed as a giant disco ball for Empire Day celebrations? Well, you're not alone. Welcome to Star Wars Lore with Idiots.
And hello, everybody, and welcome once again to Star Wars Lore with Idiots, where your boy, Ranger J 1999, that's me, tries to teach lore to a bunch of idiots, Star Wars related, and it usually goes to hell in a handbasket. I do say idiots, but we do have an exception. We have the lovely Kate Gamey joining us again. Hello, Kate.
Hello, thank you for having me again.
We're very glad to have you. And thank God you're here because you are bringing sanity and intelligence back to this podcast. And I appreciate that about you. Because if you didn't see last week's video, which you should go watch, Kate came in strong and made the other two knuckleheads look really, really bad. So let's see if they're going to step up their game this week. Kate, how's your week going? You drinking anything special? Well, I know you're on a special diet right now, so I don't think you're imbibing any alcohol.
I got Gatorade.
Yeah.
Again.
So, yeah. That's the way it goes. So yes. So all right. We're looking forward to having Kate drop some knowledge again today. Let's see what happens. That being said, let's meet our other two contestants on the idiot scale. First, we go to Big K. Cashmere's joining us. K.
Hey.
After being shown out by Kate last week, have you changed your ways? Or are you still buffoonery driven?
I think I am very legit in everything. Every response
That's
I give and
really
every
not
answer.
True. No.
He had a good guess last week.
He did actually have a good guess. It wasn't bad. It was solid. At least it was in the Star Wars universe, So
There we go. See,
I will give you credit for that. And what are you drinking today? Anything special? You always have some nice hooch.
today we're just drinking some Four Roses. We're gonna try and finish this
Try to
off.
finish that off. Okay, good.
Yeah.
And then last but not least, rounded it all together is Casper the Friendly Ghost himself, the Navy's finest, Ram Bam 001, the Mace Lover, is here. Ram, first of all, what are you imbibing any alcohol while we do this, or are you just keeping it straight?
Keeping it straight.
Okay, yeah.
Dr. P.
Dr. P. You can't go wrong with Dr. P. And if you missed it last week, Ram was really on target with his buffoonery. Didn't even know what universe we were talking about, which I'm sure will happen more than once. All right. So that being said,
I think I'll get it right this time.
Feel like I'm on Celebrity Jeopardy. For the last time. No, you're not.
It's not a pen. It's not a microphone.
Oh gosh. I had such high hopes for you. Just waiting for that moment. Ram's getting is being caught in a big.
I hope this is what I had for your mother last night, Trebek.
Okay, why? All right. So if you're new, this is the podcast. It's always on YouTube. You can check it out on YouTube. We got a playlist there. We also have it on podcast. I got to spend some time today trying to get it caught up. I think we're through like 12 or 13 on the on Podbeam and Amazon. I got to upload them and stuff, but we'll get that. I'll try to get that done today. It takes time because I got to download them, upload them, do all this crap. So it's a lot of work, but I will get it done. Damn it. Still no idea what's going on with Spotify. Someday we'll be on Spotify. I've attempted multiple times to get on Spotify. It says we are approved, and yet it doesn't exist. So someday we'll be on Spotify. That's my dream, my goal, my happy place, but we'll see what happens. All right. That being said, I'm going to read a quote like we always do, and then I'm going to ask the ladies and gentlemen here to give a guess on what they think it is. This is usually where this is go wrong. Kate, I'm going to leave you for last. Came in clutch last time. So we'll start with the true idiots of the lore. So here's the quote. All right, here's the quote for you guys today. Kind of a tricky quote, but we'll see if you guys can pick it up. There's some lore associated with this, so you might pick up on it, but we'll see. All right. I think he might be the one we've been searching for. He could be the Sith Ari. Read it again. I think he might be the one we've been searching for. He could be the Sith Ari or Sith Ari. All right, that being said, let it marinate in your brains a little bit. Let's go to Kashmir first, because I know Ram's going to give some stupid answer. I can just see it in his face. All right, Kashmir, what do you think we're talking about today? Where's your brain going on there?
So you want me to go first, so no one else has to go and embarrass themselves? Understand?
You don't care.
Well, I think Ram already said it. Dr. P, Dr. Persian.
What?
Dr. P, Dr. Pershing.
Why would you think I would ever cover that guy? He barely has any lore on him.
It'd be interesting.
No.
You know,
You've lost points for what you did last week there, Cashmere, already. So, yeah, it started off in a negative again. Again, I feel like I'm on Celebrity Jeopardy. All right. Strike one. Ram Bam, let's see how this goes. This ought to be entertaining. I like to see that evil smirk in your goddamn face. Okay, Ram, what do you got for me? Let's hope it's in the Star Wars universe, first of all. That'd be great. And non-Mace related, of course. Ram's banned from saying anything Mace related at all. All right, what do you got for me, buddy?
Well, you know, by you saying that he could be the one, you're obviously talking about a him.
Mhm.
And
Okay.
you know,
Okay.
Sith, you know, I
Okay.
think we might be going down the path of everybody's favorite potential Sith, Owen Lars. I mean, we don't know if he's a Sith or not. We have no clue. So he could be the Sith RI. I don't know what an RI is, but you know, he could
I
be.
was about to ask that too. I'm like, I don't know what that is.
We covered.
I don't know what a
we-
Sith RI is, but hey, I mean, it sounds cool.
we
Owen
covered
Lars
it.
fits the bill.
We
it
covered.
does run in the family.
We
It
covered
does.
it.
It does.
Yeah. Okay, Ram, shut up. Two, we've covered what the Sith Arai is in previous Sith. That when we did the Sith episode, I was really hopeful.
There was a Sith episode.
I was really hopeful here, Kate, because I actually covered the history of the Sith with these two dumbasses, and it's completely gone awry. Sith Arai is an ancient term in the Sith language for, you know, like king of the Sith or leader of the Sith. You know,
Why did they just say that?
I'm ignoring
That would
you
make
now.
more sense.
I'm ignoring you completely, Ram. You have failed me. You had me going there. I really thought we had a good chance here for the first time, and Ram shit the bed. Okay. All right, Kate. You may not get it right, but I think you're going to give a logical answer. That's why we have you on here. You're thinking about it. Who do you think we're going to be talking about? Okay.
I mean, I feel like we're going with a Sith theme.
Going who?
Does it a Sith theme, but
Yeah,
like
Sith theme. That is Sith theme. Yes.
okay. I almost think it's who we talked about, like we brought up after the episode last week, but I have no clue.
Well, who do you think that is?
Darth Talon,
Darth Talon. So you think it's Darth Talon?
maybe.
Okay. Is that your final answer?
Sure.
Okay. Not right. It's not right, but that was a good guess, Kate. It was in the realm of possibilities, and that's what I respect about you. Unlike Beavis and Butthead over there, that were not even sniffing anything that resembled a coherent or contingent answer. Oh God. Oh, so frustrating. No, it's not Darth Talon, but that was a pretty solid guess there, Kate. No, we are covering one of the most famous Sith ever, Darth
Emperor
Bane.
Palpatine.
Who? I couldn't even hear Ranger.
Am I going to have to mute someone for the first time on the lore video? I think I am. I'm going to have to slap a hoe over there. God almighty. No, it's Darth Bane. We're covering Darth Bane today. So that's who our subject is. So let's go around the corn. Is our
Not even that powerful.
Yes, he wasn't that powerful. That you can tell Ram has no clue what he's talking about. Okay. So let's start with Kate. Kate gave
Oh,
a
God.
pretty and you know anything about Darth Bane? What do you know of Darth Bane?
Nothing really, other
It's
than
okay.
people have said he's a badass. That's
He's
about
definitely a badass. Yes.
That's about all I know.
He's definitely a badass. Okay. Ram, what do you know about old Darthy Bane there?
Well, you know, something about he does not like threesomes or groups
No.
or orgies or anything like that.
Not a fan.
He prefers monogamy.
He does.
You know, he calls this rule of two.
That's true.
I don't know. I can't stand that. I feel like the Jedi had it so much better because they could just, you know, have this orgy anytime they want.
Well, we were going to talk about
No monogamy.
Yeah, just we'll talk about it. And then Big K, what do you know about old Darth Bane?
Doesn't it have something to do with Batman?
I was thinking that too. There is one there.
I don't want to do this anymore.
Doesn't he kind of look like him a little bit too?
Not really, no. In a
No?
sense, a little bit, yeah, because they're.
Does he wear like a mask thing?
We'll get into.
I was born in
I
the
do
dark.
have I do have a legitimate my boy Yoda did meet up with his like ghost or spirit or
That's very much true. Yes, he is made canon because he was 99% of this is legend stuff. However, in the Clone Wars, in season 6, I believe, Yoda goes on his journey through the Force. Right, he does go to Korriban and he does visit the grave of Darth Bane, who he does say is the creator of the Rule of Two. So that made Darth Bane finally canon, and he was not canon up to that point. So the story that I'm going to give you in his backstory, all legends. The existence of Darth Bane, canon. And we do know that he is the creator of the Rule of Two. I would say, all joking aside, he does look a lot like Bane from the Batman movies, because he is a big, hulking, muscle-bound guy. Because of his background, he looks a certain way. He does have different appearances, because we'll talk about what happens to him. There's two forms of Bane we're going to discuss, but that has to do with the armor that he gets his hands on. Now, Darth Bane originally was named Dessel, and he was born on a mining planet. I can't remember what planet it was. I think it's Apatros. He was born into a mining family. His father, his mother died, I think, giving birth to him. His father was a drunk as a miner too. He used to relentlessly beat on, abuse Bane and blamed him for everything, including the death of his wife. As Bane got older, he started working in the mines at an early age. Because of that, he grew. I think Arnold Schwarzenegger on the Wheel of Agony. He became this big, bulking guy, but because of his abuse, he was very shy and timid. Until one day, his father just went too far, and Bane was like, "I've had enough of this." He stood up to his father, lost, but he stood up to him finally. And then that night, he basically wished his father would die. Now, what Bane didn't realize at the time is he was Force sensitive. And because of his connection to the Force, the dark side took over, and he killed his father through the Force. And he would have a couple more incidents with the Force that he didn't understand what it was, where he would do that. But he started, after his father's death, and other people would pick on him because he was an easy target. Well, he started standing up to them. So he was like all the bullies and people that gave him a hard time. He stood up to them. He goes through all this stuff, but basically, Bane's journey will lead into the last great war between the Sith and the Jedi. At the time, the last remnants of the Sith were known as the Brotherhood of Darkness, led by Darth Khan. And I think his first name is Sker Khan, Skere. And he was leading the last contingent of the Sith. They had an academy. They were at war with the Jedi, who were being led by Lord Hoth, the planet that is his namesake. Lord Hoth and the Jedi Council were fighting them. So, circumstances what they were, Bane got in trouble. He basically went and joined the Sith army as a foot soldier. He was part of their elite special forces, and I can't remember the name of the group that he joins, but he gets identified by the Sith as someone that was really strong in the Force. So they pulled him out of their combat units because he was a sergeant there, and he was well known for all the battles that he participated in as a really good soldier. So they take him there. The Sith realized immediately Bane was different, right? Bane just gobbled up all the information, and they could tell immediately, one, he was an exceptionally good fighter just because of his experience being a soldier and other things. He'd been fighting his whole life, but he learned quick. So he spends time in the academy, but Bane, with his background and stuff, again, all the bullying, all the stuff that he'd been through, he looked at the power structure of the Sith. And this is one thing about the Sith, is that the Sith, more times than not, we talked about the rise and fall of the Sith. Why the Sith always rise and fall is because all of them are power hungry. All of them want to be the top dog. So there's a lot of backstabbing and power plays and politics, and there's no trust or camaraderie, because everybody's out to get the other person and do whatever they can to rise to the next level. Bane looked at that and he was like, "This is garbage." He started rebelling against the Sith teachers until, even though they recognized how great he was, they were constantly clashing. Bane had enough. He went on a pilgrimage to Korriban and was just, through the Force, felt like he had to go there, because he was looking for answers. Lo and behold, what does the Force lead him to? Darth Revan's holocron. And Bane learned and agreed with Darth Revan, because Darth Revan really cemented his belief that the Sith, reason they always fail is because they always destroy each other before they destroy their enemy. And so he learned all this philosophy and teachings from Darth Revan, comes back to the Sith, sets it up so that the Sith and the Jedi destroy one another. Okay, that's the big, force bomb that goes off in the war that kills all the Brotherhood of Darkness in the ritual and most of the Jedi. Darth Bane, who at this time has found a orphan girl, Zana, who is really strong in the Force. They have their own little story. I'm not going to really cover Zana here. I'm just going to cover Bane. Sets all this up, puts it in motion, and they all think he's dead. He takes Zana, and then he starts the new order of the Sith. And his thing is that this is where he starts the rule of two. There should always be two Sith. One that has the power and the apprentice that craves the power to replace their master. And that there should be no more than two, because when you get more than two Sith, then it always goes to hell in a handbasket. So that's where all that starts, and that's through the war. That's the last great war between the Sith, the Brotherhood of Darkness, and the Jedi. And this eventually will lead to Palpatine, but we're going to mainly cover what happens with Bane for the rest of his story, because there's really two cool parts of his story that we're going to get into. Because he starts learning from all kinds of people, getting holocrons. He goes through this journey. So far, let's take a pulse of the idiots. And Kate, I think, had to go step away for a second, but that's okay. Ram, what do you think so far? Pretty cool. What are your thoughts on all Darth Bane so far?
Oh, yeah. I mean, Darth Bane, seems like he was born in the darkness, molded by it.
Wrong Bane. Try again.
No, that's the right Bane. I do have a question though.
Is it a legit question, man?
It is. Okay. So you discussed his father and like how he killed him and whatnot, right? And he killed him through the Force because he's so powerful in the Force, right?
Yeah, without even realizing it. He also did some other things to some other folks with the Force. He didn't understand what was happening. He was right with the Force in his mind. Is like, I hate that mother. And the next thing,
hate that motherfucker, and then he just drops dead.
They die. Right. They die the next day.
So was his father a drinker and a fiend?
I wouldn't say he was a fiend. He was a drinker and an abuser. I know what you're trying to do with the Joker line, but it's not going to work. But no, he was very abusive. I mean, he beat the shit out of Bane all the time. But that really molded Bane into, again, looking at the Sith and thinking they're a bunch of bullies and braggarts, and just his idea of what the Sith should be. Plus, he was a warrior. I mean, of all things, Darth Bane was a warrior, and he didn't. This other crap, he just thought it was petty bullshit that had to go. So yeah. All right, Big K.
Darth Bane's a badass, though.
No, he's very much a badass. We're going to get into some of his badass things, like when he goes to the Jedi Temple and fights all the Jedi. Him and Zana by himself. Yes. Kashmir, what are you thinking so far of old Darth Bane?
It seems like a really cool character.
Very cool.
But I do now want to learn about like how Tatooine was named, who the Tatooine was named after.
Tatooine's always been, I think, Tatooine, but that's a different story. We will eventually get to the planets. I mean, I just covered Hoth as the namesake of Hoth just because that's where the name came from in the legends. I don't know if that's Hoth, the planet is canon, but I don't know if the naming is canon anymore, because that was, from this also comes from, there's a trilogy of books. If you've not read them, please go read them. They're one of the best trilogies ever. The Darth Bane trilogy. It's been a long time. I think it's 3 books, right? It's been a hot minute since I read them. I had to go through it.
If it's a trilogy, it is 3 books.
Yeah. Well, I don't know if
See, I'm
there
not
was a
that much of an
trilogy. I
idiot.
think there was 3, but it's been like what, 10, 15 years since I read the books. Let me look at this real quick because I'm trying to remember.
Well, you look that up. Can if he does come to live action, can Vin Diesel play him?
Vin Diesel, you mean?
Well, I mean his name is Diesel, so I figured I'd remember his
Oh,
name.
you were trying to play on words. Yeah, it was 3 books. It's been since 2006. Jesus Christ, that's how old these books are. 2006, 2007. The last one was in 2009.
I'd love to see some of these Sith make it into Swigo.
It would be really cool. I mean,
Bane, Marka
Ragnos, Kesh. Yeah, we've covered quite a few of them. Hell, I'd love to see Tula Cord get in there. Yeah, they're all great.
Nagasato.
Yeah, they're all great characters and stuff. I mean, if you go back and read their books or comics, they're worth the read. Like, I know you don't like to read, but I think you would really, really enjoy that book series, Kashmir. It is fantastic. It's one of the best series. Have you read it, Ram? I don't think you've read the Bane trilogy.
No, I'm not.
Yeah, because I remember reading them back in the course. I've got tons of books behind me, but that was something totally different. And then I also at the same time got the Essential Guide to the Force at the time, a book, and they talk about the war and stuff like that in there. And then Bane starting the role too. I mean, this is the philosophy that the Sith had, is to have the power, but use the power for themselves, and this starts with what Bane gets into his. Let's start talking about what Bane does. So for the next 20 some odd years, right? Bane and Zana, what they start doing is they do a lot of stuff. They start creating enterprises and creating networks to start influencing the galaxy. And I don't remember what causes him to go to the Jedi Order. It's been, as I said, a hot minute since I did this, but eventually he goes. Now, there's a thing that happens before then. Bane, on his search for knowledge, and I'm looking for it. Where is it? He was looking for a holocron of somebody. He was for his first part of his existence. He here. This is how he gets the armor. There's here somewhere. God damn it. Wikipedia is messing with me here. He's on his way to find okay, so he's on his way to, what is it? He's looking for Datacron. Well, he lands somewhere on a planet for whatever reasons. Okay, so it was Frida Nod's Datacron. I was looking for it. But he crashes. He's got the holocron. He starts looking at the holocron. But when he's on this planet, he gets infected by these creatures called Orbalisk, and they could not be removed. And he learns about them with Frida Nod's holocron. And what they do is they cause him to be in constant pain. But what they did is they created an armor, kind of like the Vushn Vong, a living armor around him that gave him, basically he was impervious. Even though he's in constant pain, which helped his dark side powers, it also gave him tremendous healing abilities that enhanced his connection to the Force, especially when he would rage into the dark side. And so that made him a powerhouse when he was, in fights. He kind of viewed it as a gift and a curse. So initially he didn't know how to get rid of it. to him initially, he didn't know what to do with it, but he used the power. So it ends up that he goes to Tython. I think his apprentice gets captured or something like that. Again, it's been a hot minute since I've read the novels. But it comes into fruition because with this armor and with Zana, they end up going to Coruscant to face the Jedi, and they were no match for him or Zana. So if you think about the entire Jedi Order, he's got this armor on. He's being fueled by this armor, and it makes him more powerful in the dark side. They had no shot. So throughout the first part of Bane's existence with Zana, teaching his apprentice, teaching about the dark side, they're going through, they're finding holocrons, they're learning more. That was their main thing, is to gain knowledge, break these networks. That was the first part. They end up challenging the Jedi, goes to Coruscant, to the Jedi Order, kicks their ass. But then after that fight, Bane realized that the armor was a hindrance. So through more study, he was able to get the armor off of him. Okay, so that's the second part of Bane. This is where Bane, through more study in the dark side, becomes more... He was already a powerhouse in combat with lightsabers and fighting, but now he's starting to get, because of his connection to the dark side, he's starting to get really powerful with Sith sorcery and other Sith abilities and stuff like that. Force lightning, all these things. Now, when you read the books, they do all these different things. The big thing is that rule of two. Bane started looking at Zana after all their time together, that she wasn't the chosen one that he needed to go for. He actually goes and finds another apprentice and wants to destroy Zana because she hasn't proven herself. He thinks she's too weak. They end up having a confrontation. His new apprentice that he wants to pick dies, and then Bane and Zana have a confrontation where he thinks he's going to win. He tries to transfer his essence to her, so he's learned that technique that we've talked about, the Sith. Fails. Part of him still stays with Zana, but Zana wins the fight. It's basically a test of wills when he tries to dominate her body and her will, to continue his legacy. But she proves too powerful, and then she carries on the legacy of the Sith from on. She gets an apprentice, and for the next 1,000 years, the Sith live in the shadows of the Republic, which at this time is the High Republic. This is the highlight of the Republic, right? The Sith were just plotting, scheming, learning, setting things up, and it all culminates with Palpatine, the rule of two, leading to them finally defeating the Jedi Order. That was the big thing. Defeat the Jedi and control the galaxy. So they were very patient with what they did. They kept learning and basically finding apprentices that would get more powerful, all the way through Plagueis, through Palpatine, as a culmination of all that knowledge of that 1,000 years, all started by Darth Bane. Now, there's a lot more he does in these three books, but Bane was an exceptionally powerful duelist. He was an exceptionally powerful person in the dark side, and just a powerful person in the Force. I mean, he was unnatural with what he could do. So we'll start there. Kate, you had to step away for a little bit. You're hearing about Darth Bane. What are your questions? What are you thinking about him so far?
Oh my God, I had one and now I just completely forgot it. Come back to me.
Okay, Ram. Why do I bother? Questions of everything about Darth Bane. Again, we're just getting into the general stuff of Darth Bane.
Yeah, I thought we already talked about Darth Bane. Isn't that what we just, I went on the whole thing with his father was a drinker and a fiend, and
Why does it seem
I
like
thought you were just
90%
coming
of
back to
Star
Kate 'cause
Wars
she wasn't
is
here.
like sad childhoods?
I just hate him so much. Big K, any questions? Legitimate Chris questions here.
Did he know how to steal health?
Yes.
I heard about health steal.
Mm-hmm.
Ram, how does Hellsteel work?
Yeah.
I don't know. I guess I should go to Korban and learn.
Any questions, Kay? Until we get back to Kate, do you have any questions so far?
No, I'll save mine for later. It's legit. It actually is a legitimate question, but I'll save it.
Okay. Kate, did you think of your question?
Yeah, I remembered it.
Okay, what's your question, Kate?
So I'm sorry if you already said this too.
No, it's
Did
okay.
he ever have like a fall to the dark side moment, or was he just like I only know the dark side?
He only knows the dark side. I mean, he. he studied the other side because he was a student and a learner. He just thought the Jedi were weak.
Okay.
But he also thought that they had their own flaws and their own problems, that he didn't agree with. But then he also saw that the Sith needed to be reforged and remolded, and that's why he starts to rule it too, because they always lose. As powerful as the Sith were, their philosophy and how they did things didn't work. We've talked about this time and time again. If you look through all the great rise and fall of the Sith empires, it's mainly because of themselves that they lose out. The only exception was Vishya, but even then, all the shit Vishya did came back to bite him in the ass. So Darth Bane started, he studied. He was one of those hyper intelligent people that he just learned. He craved knowledge.
So was he kind of like a Thrawn, just could fight better?
Yeah, he was a fast. I'll read some stuff here from the Wikipedia, just to give you a sense of like his force powers and the way he learned and the way he did, and then this will maybe help you understand it, instead of me just saying things. So Darth Bane was very talented with the Force. As a minor on Apos, he was able to use the Force on occasion, though he had no understanding of it, and it was largely instinctive. When he received formal training at the academy, he was one of the most skilled students there. He was highly dedicated to his training, spent hours reading ancient Sith texts, knowledge that was forsaken by the school's other attendees. In addition, he received private lessons in the ways of the dark side and excelled. He desired to become a great and powerful Sith Lord and spent a tremendous amount of time practicing in hopes of perfecting his skill. He was an exceptionally fast learner and quickly passed many students at the academy. He possessed great telekinetic power and can easily shatter his opponent's force shields, as he often did. His telekinetic power is such that he caused the Temple of the Ancients on Lahan to collapse with the Force Wave, which resulted in the death of Kassim. He also started learning where he started picking up his capacity for Force Lightning, and he was able to cast Force Lightning at such a high electric voltage that most opponents died instantly upon contact. The energy output leaving their bodies burned and charred. He was also able to plunge deep into his hatred and draw fully on the power of the dark side to unleash powerful force waves, the strength of which could devastate almost anything in their path. In collective focus with the other Sith Masters of the Brotherhood, he led the unleashing of the Force Storm that we talked about that led to the destruction of everything else. He also projected a death field that instantaneously I can't even read this word, desiccated and killed the attacking cultists who were going at him one time. And he also had
like KOTOR.
Yeah, he also had access to vast collection of scrolls, tomes, texts. He found lots of datacrons. He studied them religiously. The big one was Revan, Frieden, Nod. I don't know the other ones off the top of my head that he got into, but each of these things led to him becoming more powerful with the dark side to do bigger and better things, because he was already powerful in the Force. Once you started learning, and again, he practiced and studied all the time, it just made him just this machine of a dark side user, that he could kick your ass with the lightsaber, or he could kick your ass with the dark side of the Force. And he was an opponent you did not want to face. The armor enhanced that, but it also made him weak. The one thing about the armor is, when he was fighting with the armor, kind of like the Berserk armor from, I don't know if you guys are familiar with the anime Berserk, it forces you to keep fighting because he's constantly getting healed, even though he's taking damage from the armor, and would cause his rage to fuel into the dark side. But when he would get done, he was done fighting, he was a mess, because even though he's constantly healing, his body is just getting ravaged by it. So yeah, he was incredible. I mean, he can manipulate other people. He learned all the mind tricks. He learned all the little neat tricks, and then he expanded upon those and made them more powerful. And this is the stuff why he thought Zana wasn't there. What he didn't realize is that Zana was there. She just had a different way of going about it. So that's what led to his downfall, was his arrogance, thinking that he could defeat Zana. And that's what he wanted, because he wanted the rule too. She proved to him to continue the legacy by defeating him when he tried to do what he did in their final confrontation. Because they fought a lot. They went back and forth. And then at the end of the fight, you know, that's when he made his move to take over her body. She proved too strong. Thus, his acknowledgement, even though there's a part of his sentence there, the rest of it went to the void. There was a part of Bane that always existed in Zana. So she in a sense carried a part of him through her journey of creating the Sith and the Sith Order of the Rule of Two to continue the legacy. So, questions on that so far? Anybody?
Well, I think if he would have gotten the holocron about a certain weapon, he would have been able to beat his apprentice.
What would that be? Their big K?
The holocron about the stick.
Stick. Knew it was coming. There's no holocron of the stick, and the stick wouldn't have helped.
Why not?
Why is there no holocron of the stick?
Because it's,
Yeah.
you know why? You're just being an
I don't know why.
Then go read.
There should be a holocron of the stick.
Sure, go find it.
It was a powerful weapon.
It's very powerful.
Yeah, go. Yeah, y'all guys, you do the you go do the research on the stick, and then you can come do a lore video.
But you're the lore master. You're supposed to tell
Yeah,
us.
I
the
don't
lore of the
deal
stick.
with nonsense and malarkey. All right, legitimate questions now. All right, we're past that point. All right, Kate. Questions so far on Darth Bane? Pretty straightforward. I'm not getting into the
Zana
minutia.
becomes the master,
Yes.
who becomes her apprentice.
I don't know the name of the person. She does pick somebody. I'd have to look her up real quick to find out who her apprentice
So then
was.
Revan was also before all this?
Yeah, so Revan was about 3,800 years before. Well, no, 2,800 years before Bane.
Okay.
Yeah, it goes in order of like great Sith. You have all the ancient Sith, but then the ones that get into the Old Republic timeline, you have Exar Kun, Ula Qel-Droma. Then a couple hundred years later, it's Darth Revan and Malak, right? And then after all that, we get with Vishian and all that stuff that happens. Then there's a gap in this in the history of Star Wars. Not a lot happens there. They don't really cover it yet, but it leads into finally the culmination of the Brotherhood of Darkness and the Jedi having their confrontation, which creates Bane. That's where Bane fights in that war and comes up with the Rule of Two. So around 1,000 BBY is when this takes place. So I think Bane dies in 990 ABY or BBY before the Battle of Yavin in the timeline. So this takes place 1,000 years before Luke destroys the disc.
Okay.
And then they go into the shadows. That starts the Rule of Two. And then what I'm excited about with the Acolyte that's going to be coming up here for Disney, that's going to be covered. So the reason I wanted to cover Darth Bane, because I know that show's around the corner, and I'm excited to see if they talk about this, because he is canon. As Cashman said, Bane is canon because of the appearance Yoda had with him in the Clone Wars, his dark side spirit. So I want to see with the Sith at the time, because it's going to be a bad guy show. Do they talk about Darth Bane, the Rule of Two? He does create a holocron. Do they use it? His teachings, that's all going to... This has a great opportunity to bring in a lot of Sith.
Well, Acolyte, I would assume they're going to be revolving a little bit around Night Sisters.
This is all about the Sith.
Oh.
And the Rule of Two.
I didn't know what it was about.
Yeah, it's all about the bad guys and what they're doing. So it takes place in the High Republic. What is it, 180 years?
100 years before
100 years, yeah.
Before episode 1, which is going to be interesting because, what are they going to do? The Sith are in hiding. So, but there's got to be some action for the show. So,
it's not that they're in hiding. They're not hiding.
The Jedi were blinded to them.
Yeah, they intentionally did what they did because they were culminating power. They knew that it was going to take time and studying and, getting as much as they could in place, right, to lead up to what Palpatine does. He takes all this knowledge, all this teaching and stuff, and he's the one that sets some things finally in motion. He's in a position to do what they've been planning for 1,000 years. They're waiting for the right moment to strike. Plus, this is not a great time. The Sith are waiting too. During the High Republic, the Jedi were in full glory, and the High Republic was in full glory. Palpatine came along just at the right time to take everything that they learned and culminate it, right? with their underworld stuff, and with the Republic on the decline, right? Because of this is what's happening at the time of episode 1. The Republic's on the downslope, right? Leads to the Federation. There's a lot of people not happy. He takes advantage of that to cause the wars that he does and the things that he starts doing. So that's what they were waiting for too, is the right time and opportunity. Have things in place, keep learning, keep growing their power. Hey, if we can kill some Jedi over here, sure. But their main thing wasn't, they weren't ready for a confrontation. If they had one, they were more than willing to take it on. But their big thing was, let's wait. Wait, rule of 2, let's get stronger and stronger and stronger until we can make our attack. And Palpatine was.
So did he ever have like an epic battle with a Jedi?
Darth Bane?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, he went to Tython and he kicked the shit out of the Jedi.
Well, any like specific, like, you know how you have a ton of like really good battle sequences?
He has a ton, yeah. Well, he fought in the war, so he fought Jedi all the time. So let's see here.
Well, he said like he did like Anakin. He
He's
went
on
to the
Tython.
Jedi Temple and slaughtered everybody.
Oh,
Not slaughtered, but
Yeah, I'm trying to see. It's in here. I mean, it's been a while since I read the books, and I just did the basics of this. He had sent Zana to the Jedi Temple to do something.
So his apprentice Zana, right? That's the same one with the dreads, like the gun and the green outfit and everything, right?
Zana has blonde. Let me see if I can find a picture of Zana. I have to go all the way back.
This.
I've not actually looked at a picture of Zana in a hot minute. Come on. Oh, this is really.
Oh, is this her blonde hair?
Yeah.
Like.
Yeah.
Red. Well,
that
black
can't be the
with
same
a
one.
red under cape.
Who's the one that has the dreads then?
I'm pretty sure it's the same one, right?
I mean, he finds her as a small child. She has blonde hair. I'm pretty sure of that. I mean, she looks like a normal person. She was able to infiltrate the Jedi Temple. There's a picture.
Oh,
of her.
Zana Staros, right?
Yeah,
it's the same one, right?
Yeah, she's got blonde hair. Yeah, Bane is bald and looks like Bane from Batman. And the pictures. And the
Where's his mask?
Well, except when he was in the armor. Yeah, he there's a picture of him with his armor on. You can see someone did the artwork for it. He has kind of a yellowish, tannish complexion. He's got marks on his eyes, tattoos.
He has jaundice.
Sort of. Some of the stuff from the armor kind of causes him.
He looks like the Deadpool from X-Men Origins.
I don't remember if he went to Tython or was Coruscant. He does face the Jedi quite a lot. And yeah, they were a powerhouse. I'd have to go back and get to the specific. I mean, the Jedi fled from him. I mean, basically, they were no match for Bane and Zana. In the sense that he's just too powerful, especially when he's in his armor. He was ridiculous. And the Jedi just, they got lucky he didn't wipe them out when he fought them. But I think it was on Tython. I think that he sent Zana in. They were doing something, and then he had to go in there, and they had a big confrontation. They win. The Jedi flee, and stuff like that. So I said it's been a hot minute since I read the books and stuff. But yeah, and there's many confrontations in the books with Jedi and other people too, with all the stuff that they were setting up. No, good question. But yeah, Zana, she has blonde hair. He finds her as a small child during the war, and he could tell through the Force that she was really powerful. That's why he made her apprentice. Made her his apprentice. Any other questions? Nope. Okay, well, there we go. Darth Bane. Again, just general stuff. I'm not getting into the minutiae of detail with Darth Bane. You should read the books, Kate. They're really good.
I actually think I got the book from my dad for like Christmas.
There's 3 books in the trilogy. I thought it was a trilogy. I confirmed it. I looked on Wikipedia here. It is 3 books. Because it's been 17 years since I read those books. I'm familiar with them, and some of this stuff comes to my brain. I mean, I went through the wiki real quick just to remind myself of some of this stuff. But yeah, really good books. It deals with think the first one deals with Bane's origins and him becoming like the World 2. The second one deals with something, and the third one deals with the ending that I just talked about with him and Zomp, what leads to that. But it goes through chronologically the years that they spend together and all the stuff that they get into with everything that they're plotting. So, but yeah, Darth Bane, the creator of World 2, and I'm excited because with the Acolyte coming in, I'm really excited to see if they bring him up and how they're going to handle this, because this is going to be a bad guy show, and I'm all about the bad guy shows. Being a Sith myself, represent Sith, for Lord and Savior Revan. As you can see, he's behind.
I thought you're a Mando.
Well, yeah, I mean, I'm a Mandalorian, but I'm a Sith at heart, so a warrior that likes the dark side. I can be both.
And Chewies.
All right, we'll go around one more time. Any final thoughts, questions there, Ram? Other than your Batman shit? Okay. Okay, any final thoughts, questions?
The thing I wanted to bring up is like what's surprising is how they actually stuck to the plan, and because their Sith are power hungry, and they actually kind of you would have thought that at some point in those 100 years or so, however many years it was, that one of them would have been like, F this. I think I'm strong enough to take care of the Jedi on my own, and
it might be they might go back and there's a gap there, right? I mean,
I'm surprised the World 2 is still around.
You've got
it's
Bane, Zana, huge gap, Acolyte, Plagueis. It's like there's a lot of stuff that goes on that we don't know what happens in that time. They haven't covered it. Not even the Legends. There's snippets here and there, but I mean, there's a big gap. What were the Sith doing? That's all we know. We're told is that they were just doing their Sith stuff. But no, the philosophy was always that instead of having a bunch of people, scheming and doing all that stuff, right, vying for power, there was just two. Always two. So that you have the person that has the power, and two, the apprentice that craves the power.
Always two there are.
Yes. No more, no less.
I know you said that. When did these books come out? Were they after the prequel?
The first one came out right after Episode 3.
Okay.
2006. Yeah.
I was just curious if George Lucas.
Oh yeah,
used that, or did this come out?
I think I read in the Wookiee that George Lucas said he had a big part of who Darth Bane was here. If I look real quick.
Yeah, no, I know Lucas did have. I mean, I know obviously he didn't write the books, but he had to sign off on the books and give the okay.
So it says the character of Darth Bane and his Rule of Two were created by George Lucas as part of his backstory of the Sith he developed for the prequel trilogy. He was actually first mentioned in the Phantom Menace novel as the creator of the Rule of Two. And then the essential chronology talks about the Battle of Rusin. He's mentioned in Dark Forces Jedi Knight, and they started creating further backstories. So yeah, that's where it kind of started. It was George Lucas's brainchild on this. Where the Sith came from with the Rule of Two. Now I mentioned in the movies, but I guess I haven't read the Phantom Menace novel, but yeah.
Phantom Mace? Yeah. I heard it.
Well, yeah, because I had a picture of Mace. I just heard saw Mace pop up here. I'm like, what's Mace doing here?
Oh yeah.
Another thing about Wikipedia though is like you get flashed with so many things. Like if you see this, go to this. If you see this, go to this. I'm like, why? Don't. I'm just on here.
So Mace is in your search history on there. Okay. All right. Interesting. Interesting.
Yes, he is a Star Wars character. I have looked him up before.
You've looked him up. Okay.
Yes, unlike you, I expand my knowledge of all characters, not just one who I've got my head up his ass so far. You can
Ram looks him up and down and up and down.
I know every centimeter about Mace.
Yeah, he sure does. I'm just waiting for one day Samuel Jackson just to show up next to Ram and just beat his ass. Oh, you like Mace, huh?
Look, I'm still waiting for Samuel L. Jackson to show up on that Cameo website where I can be like, I can get a shout out for him. Mm-hmm. It's gonna happen.
All right, final
$1,000.
Final questions or thoughts, Kate's on Darth Bane.
Oh, I'm good.
You're good. Yeah, read the books, Kate. They're really good. They're one of the best.
I have to go steal them from my dad.
Yeah, they're trilogy books, and they're fantastic. You'll really like it. They really do a good job of getting to a lot of different things with the Sith and all the stuff that they go through, their philosophy and how everything gets set up, more than I'm covering here. As I said, we could get into the minutia. We'd be here for 4 hours, just talking about all the stuff that they did. I just wanted to cover the big things, just in the general sense, just so people that watch this, you get teased. Like, Darth Bane sounds cool. I'd like to go learn more about Darth Bane or read these books. So hopefully that.
Oh, I'm probably gonna go grab it now because I feel like a lot of the books are about like the light side and they follow that. But it's cool to see the perspective of the dark side too.
Yeah, that's why I'm excited about the Acolyte. I really hope that they get into a lot of the stuff that we just talked about, that dynamic between the master and the apprentice, kind of duality that's going on there. So it'll be interesting. We don't know much about the show yet, but I'm super excited. Not as excited as I am for Ahsoka, because it's my girl, but I'm still pretty damn excited to see what they do. I hope that they really get, this is a dark series, because it is dealing with the Sith and stuff and the crap that they do. So, all right. With that, you can check this out every Monday or Tuesday. I'm not painting this week. If I get my paint in, may have to push it to Wednesday for the Patreons, but not, you guys still get it early. If you're a Patreon, you get the lore video early. It'll be in our VIP Discord, so you can listen to it early, give our thoughts, and we do love the feedback from there. And then every Friday after we record this on Sunday, then on Friday it goes out to the general public. Please go check out the other videos. The last one was on Mary Jade, and that was a lot of fun to do. So this one I thought I'd introduce the Darth Bane Rule of Two origins and stuff, even though it's mostly 99% legend. He is canon. We do know he does create the Rule 2. They haven't done anything with the Legends material. I'm hoping that gets expanded upon in the Acolyte, and that we get to learn more about it. So with that, thanks to Kate, thanks to Kay, thanks to Ram. Everyone have a great rest of your day, and we'll see you next time on Star Wars Lore with Idiots.